We'll go through the instructions on how to do that shortly here. All right. So this is our third focus group session, and just 1 second here. Got one more coming in. All right. And so we are doing these focus group sessions and all of this engagement because we want your input. So this group is primarily made up of city planning staff, fire, police, and Parks and Recreation, as well as some others. So we appreciate you joining as you have a lot of input, great input from the city's perspective on this project. We are trying to reach as wide an audience as possible with this engagement. There is a survey posted for any and all to participate in. So we definitely encourage you to take a look at that survey. It's on the city's website and it's on their Facebook page, and that's at that link above. And if you need that, please just let us know. We'll send that out. Like I mentioned, we are doing these 4 focus group sessions right now. We had one on Tuesday, and we have another one this evening, and then we'll have a 4th one upcoming in the near future as well. And then if you have any other thoughts or questions, please email those stanleywhite@newbernnc.gov, and those will make it over to our project team to make sure that we are capturing all of the comments and questions. In terms of an overall schedule for this part of the process, like I mentioned, we're in that phase 1 community engagement right now. We did a public drop-in session on August 31st. We had a 4-hour drop-in, had about at least 91 people come through, 91 people signed in that came through that. We have these 4 focus groups, and then in October, we'll do a second drop-in session. After that, we'll move into the programming where we look at what are the spaces that are going to be in this building and how big are those spaces and adjacencies of those spaces, and then move into conceptual design. What do those spaces look like? What does the overall building and massing look like? And have a third drop-in public engagement session at that point. We will then do an opinion of probable costs and a presentation to the Board of Aldermen at that point in about the end of January or so. So what we're talking about today is focused on the Stanley White Recreation Center. So it was a very important part of the history and the story of the community, and especially in the neighborhood in which it sits. It was substantially damaged by Hurricane Florence in 2018, so we're excited to launch the planning efforts to rebuild. A couple constraints and opportunities. That existing location that it's on is in a floodplain. FEMA promotes relocation outside of the floodplain for long-term resiliency. In terms of funding, the City of New Bern has $8 million, just over $8 million in fully allocated committed funds for this project, and the breakdown is up there on the screen for where that funding is coming from. So this will be how we do a lot of our interaction today. So if you could pull out your phones or hop on your computer, there are a couple different ways to join. Reggie, you want to jump in?
Yeah, just a quick comment before we get into the polling. Just for everybody's knowledge in terms of the process. This meeting is being recorded. We do have representatives from FEMA who will be managing the EA process, or overseeing the EA environmental assessment process. We also, because it's being recorded and it will be part of the record, can we do a quick roll call and have everyone go around and announce their names, please?
Yes.
Foster Hughes, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Mark Stevens, City Manager.
Jeff Ruggieri, I'm the Director of Development Services. Anybody else?
And maybe it's easier if we just go down the list here and name the folks.
Yep, I can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm Rachel Nilsson with CPL, Reggie Scales with CPL. Also with CPL, we have Bill Moser and Ken Mayer on the call. We have Jennifer Bright, Dennis Tyndall, George Chiles, James Hucks, Carrie Green Warren, Chelsea Klein, Michael Horton, Toussaint Summers, Michael Tucker, Robin Wharton. And those were the ones that weren't mentioned previously. So I apologize if I mispronounced your name as well. All right, so going into some of the interaction here, there's, like I mentioned, there's a couple different ways to give feedback. You can text, and this is on any phone, does not need to be a smartphone. Text a code response, and some further instructions will be on each of the screens. Or you can go onto the web, polev.com, enter Rachel N563, and you only need to enter that once, and you can respond to the activity. And you can go onto the web on either your phone or on the computer, and you don't need to download any application for this. So I'll give you all a minute to get into that. We will, our next question here is, have you responded to the survey? So again, up at the top, you can get in via text or online. And again, if you're texting Rachel N563 to the phone number 22333, and you only need to enter that once, and then you'll be in. Same thing if you are going to polev.com, you just need to get into there once, and then that screen will update as we go to different questions.
Rachel, let me stop you real quick. I just got a text from Chief Summers. Has he been admitted into the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And for your reminder too, that survey is available on the newbernnc.gov website on the Stanley White webpage. Within the website, there's a link. It's also on the Parks and Recreation, New Bern Parks and Recreation Facebook page to take that. And we encourage you to take that. It gives us some added feedback. And Foster, he just dropped out. I'm not sure if he was having issues hearing.
He's gonna join again. There he is.
Okay, he should be back in now. All right, well, and moving to our next question, if you could type in, let us know what organization you're representing today. So we know we have a lot of people from all different parts of the city. So let us know who you're representing. Reggie, did you have a question? Comment? No? Okay. So we have New Bern Administration, Fire Rescue, Police, Development Services, Parks and Recreation. And we'll give everybody another minute or so here. All right. Well, I'm glad we have such a wide range of people representing the city in this project on the call here. So what we want to focus on today, and it'll be a little bit broader than maybe some of our other focus groups because of the way that you would interact with this project and this facility long term, is we want to focus first with our engagement on what goes inside the building. What are the activities and what are the programs and what are the spaces that are contained within this building that allow for the best use of the space long term. Just to give you all some background information, this is the existing Stanley White Recreation Center footprint. So it's about 18,000 square feet. It's got that single gym, basketball court space, an exercise room, activity rooms, a small gathering, small kitchenette, administration spaces, and a number of support spaces. What we want to show and what we want to talk about is what opportunities are there for a new modern recreation center. So what was previously there served the population for the past 30, 40 years, and what does that look like for the next 30, 40 years? We know that people don't recreate the same way they used to 30 years ago, and so how does that impact what's inside of the building? That may come in the form of additional court space, maybe a walking track, elevated walking track that's really popular, especially with a senior population. Secure children's area to be able to have a space for younger kids contained within the building. And all different kinds of activity rooms and play areas and other gathering and networking spaces. The general breakdown of these types of spaces can be in the form of education type spaces, community and gathering spaces, fitness and athletic spaces. This is what a new modern recreation and community center is. It becomes a true community hub. Fitness and athletic spaces may mean fitness studios, wellness spaces, a partnership with a local health system perhaps, climbing walls, cardio weight room, walking track, and gymnasium court space. Education spaces can be art, drama classrooms, community kitchen for demonstration, teaching, kids play area, media lab and esports to really have a space and a program for the teen population. And community spaces can be a gallery space lobby. This might be a great place to showcase the history of Henderson Park, of Stanley White, and of that previous recreation center that was damaged. Local art as well. Game rooms, this can mean pool or ping pong. It can also mean places for card games, to sit down and play card games. Multi-purpose meeting rooms, and potentially even a stage, something maybe that you would see at an elementary school, that type of combined gymnasium, auditorium, cafeteria type space to really give as much flexibility as possible to that building. So another opportunity for some feedback here. Is there one space that has not been mentioned or discussed that you think would make this recreation center successful? So again, you can text in that response or enter that online as well. And if your response is too long to type, feel free to just speak up too. All right, so we will continue moving on here. What activities do you hope to provide here in the future that you may not have provided in the past? And whether that is due to physical limitations of the space or just additional programming that you think moving forward would be great for the community? Esports. Yep. Yeah. Esports definitely very strong in continuing to grow, especially with some of that younger population. So we don't see that going away anytime soon at this point. Better fitness class options, more fitness opportunities. Yeah, so that might mean there's cardio and weight spaces, but then also a lot of multi-use spaces for classes, for dance classes, for drama classes, cheerleading, things like that. Larger meeting space. Yep, and we have seen spaces that are needed for small groups, and we've also seen a lot of spaces that are needed for large groups. So maybe opportunities to break a meeting space down into a couple of different sizes. Larger gym for multi-purpose activities. Yeah, one thing that came up at a number of the drop-in sessions was the 2 basketball court idea, because a lot of that younger population gets kicked out of the gym when there is a summer camp that comes in there. So the opportunity to be able to use those spaces at the same time, 2 spaces at the same time. Hosting of regional indoor sports tournaments. Yeah, there's not much, well, a little bit of slowdown right now, but not much slowdown with that, the indoor tournament right now too. And location, we want to touch on location as well. So that existing recreation center, the existing Stanley White Recreation Center, is this building right here, shown within Henderson Park, the back of which is kind of cut off, but extends through these fields as well. One of the proposed locations, alternative locations for this facility, is this green space that's over here on 3rd Avenue. The city does have, I understand, right-of-way access through the front of this property, which is currently lower income senior housing, to be able to connect Henderson Park to that site if that is the location this goes in the future. So if that recreation center is relocated, what type of space would you like to see at the existing location in Henderson Park where that recreation center was? So we've got A, spray ground, B, picnic shelter, C, public art, D, outdoor basketball court, E, community gardens, and F, outdoor fitness. And I saw recently some really interesting combination of outdoor basketball court with public art, where that outdoor basketball court became a public art installation, which really brought some color and life to those particular basketball courts. Spray ground, that came up as well in some previous engagement sessions we've had. We understand there is a spray ground. New Bern does have an aquatic center, but this would be something that's potentially a little closer to the community in which it sits. Outdoor fitness. We'll give it another minute or so for you to get your responses in. And then, is there a space or a program that was not an option on the previous slide that you'd like to see at that location? So something that we didn't list that you think would be a good good thing to put there at Henderson Park. One thing that came up previously was multi-purpose field, was a skate park, if that's something that may be needed in that area. And then from the city's perspective, what are the opportunities and challenges you see at these two locations? And again, feel free to type them in or speak out loud as well. Yes, Reggie.
Yeah, and I think this is an opportunity for really to hear from city staff as service providers. What are some of the constraints? And you can look at it from the Public Works Department in terms of obviously or street or water, sewer, streets, all those issues. What are some of the issues and constraints, even from the city manager's office, in terms of the programs and activities that you see in this facility and how it relates really across the entire city, or how it connects? And even looking at it from the planning staff's perspective, how does this relate? How does this facility, and again, activities, events, opportunities relate to your general plan programs, things that you have planned now and in the future? So capital spending, all those things, that's the thing that we're trying to draw from this discussion more so than anything else. And we encourage discussion, by the way. We want you to certainly write it out, but we definitely encourage the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see flooding issues, drainage issues. I understand that may apply in two different senses. One, a lot of flooding issues at that building. And again, if that building was put back in place, it does need to be elevated about 6 to 8 feet. But I know that I've heard that there have been some previous concerns and issues with the remainder of that property flooding, with the other, the fields that are located on that property flooding as well. Yep, shelter during hurricanes is definitely a good one. Does the city, I understand the New Bern Rec Center is a shelter. Are there additional shelters within the city?
Most of the shelters are managed by the county through the county emergency management, and the majority of those are at elementary schools or throughout the county.
Okay.
We do have, as an emergency shelter, West New Bern Recreation Center. Primarily, it's been used for staff and their families as a place of shelter. But when we have major hurricanes like Hurricane Florence, it became the primary shelter so that they could get the schools back open. So therefore, they transitioned the people that were at the schools to our recreation center, and they were there for, I don't know, Foster could probably confirm this, but at least 2 to 3 months after the event.
Yes, it was almost 3 months that we housed citizens.
Thank you.
Unless it's changed, the primary shelters for New Bern have always been Ben Quinn, which is out on 17, as well as Brinson, which is over in the James City area. Those are the two primary. I think Ben Quinn is the one that's the pet friendly one, but I know that after Hurricane Florence, they did some changes. So Stanley Kite with Craven County Emergency Management would be able to probably confirm and add or modify anything on those lists for you as far as the shelters.
Thank you.
So let's kind of get into the again, the capital expenditures, capital projects or programs, because we will need this as we evaluate the different alternatives. Do you have any major capital improvement programs in and around the existing location of the facility? And I'm talking about streets, water, sewer, anything that would be related to the project.
All right, so we'll keep moving on, and then we've got some additional opportunities for some more feedback too. What is your number one goal for this project as city staff, as city management? What do you want this project and this facility to be for your community, for your staff, for everything else? What do you want it to? What do you want the vision for it to be? Or is your goal, if you are most concerned with maintenance of it, or is your goal maintenance related in terms of low cost, easy maintenance, things like that?
And it may be better. This is Foster. It may be better for some people just to speak on this, but
yeah, absolutely.
One thing I could say is, my goal for this project is to provide a state-of-the-art, comprehensive recreation facility that's going to serve all of the citizens of New Bern and surrounding areas for the next 50 years, and definitely focus on technology, because things are popping up all the time with new trends in our field, and so we definitely want to take advantage of that, as opposed to having a traditional facility like we currently have in the city of New Bern, where it's really hard to expand on things without doing major renovations.
So better accessibility for individuals with disabilities, 21st century recreation needs, safe recreation facility. I saw one up there also about accessible for walking. So maybe that means reviewing how people get to this facility, wherever it is located, and making sure that there are sufficient crosswalks or any other infrastructure needed at those crosswalks to make those crosswalks safe as well. And I saw maintenance, irrigation to be able to easier maintain the surrounding landscape. Great place for all to enjoy recreational programs and activities. And then tying back into that maintenance question, because you all are the ones who will be maintaining this facility long term and setting it up for the easiest and lowest cost maintenance moving forward. Do you have any feedback on the long-term maintenance of that? So we have that comment about the irrigation to make sure that it's best maintaining or easier maintenance for the surrounding landscape. Any other questions or any other comments regarding maintenance of it? Okay, not to become a shelter unless it's the last result. And for that one, can you elaborate a little bit on the shelter piece? Do you mean not to make it a shelter, or not to bring people to it as a shelter until it's the last option? Substantial storage. On the storage, is there storage outside of just what the facility is using as programs that needs to be stored here? Or is there equipment that is frequently used at Henderson Park that would best be stored in a closer facility or elsewhere?
I'm not sure who posted that, but I think I can safely say that storage is a huge need throughout our park system. So I think they were just talking about it in general.
Mm-hmm. quality fixtures. So yeah, durability in a facility like this, a public facility that's open many hours, is really key. Looking at that. Preventative maintenance programs. Yep. So so having that in the budget, potentially an annual budget, to be able to take care of some things as they come up. %, LED, I think that is. So yeah, that is generally a standard that we use at these facilities. So, are there any sustainability goals that the city has? Any larger planning and development goals to better increase pedestrian traffic or bike access anywhere? All right, we wanted to show you a little bit of the results that we've gotten so far on our drop-in engagement and from our online survey. So we had an opportunity for people to vote on the 3 programs and spaces that they would most like to see within the recreation center. The colors did not matter. They got 3 votes to vote on any 3. As expected, indoor courts was very popular. We had a number of those specifically that requested 2 courts due to heavy usage of those courts, especially during the summer with the camps that occur within the facility. Cardio and weight room, arts and crafts classrooms were also very popular. Tech and gaming lounge, that's where some of the esports comes in. Also opportunities for some education opportunities for computers, or just access to computers for some people that may not have that access at home. Performance stage was also pretty high up on that list. And we had another category where people could write in responses. Some of those write-in responses are listed to the side. So the emergency shelter, a polling location, polling site, boxing space or boxing program. We had votes for a pool and for no pool. So kind of both ways there. 2 courts, community pantry, spaces, activities for seniors, to name a few. And then fairly similar results from the online survey. We did have a really high number of votes on that walking track, really being the primary driver of what people want to see as a space within the rec center. And in terms of programs and activities that they would participate in, the cooking and nutrition classes that come with a kitchen that can be used as a demonstration kitchen, teaching kitchen, fitness and dance classes. That's where some of those multi-purpose fitness rooms come in, as well as concert space. Maybe come into that stage component. Maybe it's a portable stage, maybe it's a dedicated stage. And again, in terms of what elements are important in the design of the rec center, are those the activities and programs that are offered, well-lit outdoor areas, cost of participation, and safety and security were the driving factors for that. And then I wanted to open up a little bit more generally. What other feedback do you have on this facility, on this project for our team? And again, feel free to speak up as well. And Reggie Foster, feel free to jump in here too.
Okay, Parks and Rec staff, I'd really like to hear some of your thoughts, and definitely any other departments. Anything you've got, please share with us.
Hopefully you're all just typing really long responses right now.
Well, let's ask a question then. Just to tease out one of the responses, someone made the comment about safety, and whoever made the comment, if we can distinguish between the safety, the physical safety of being in and around the building, as opposed to safety as it relates to the neighborhood. I'm not sure who put that out there, but if you would be willing to share just a bit more. Crime prevention through design, CEPTED is a process that we use to make facilities and by extension their presence in the neighborhood a little safer. But I'd like to understand a little bit more about that issue. Again, if whoever posted is willing to discuss it. Ah, very good. CEPTED, our police chief.
Is there any concern about access to the facility in terms of those who are not driving in? About pedestrian access and bicycle access?
I think one of the good things about the proposed new location, it's still in the neighborhood, and there is sidewalk access. The streets back in the Duffy Field area are not. There really isn't a lot of heavy traffic through there, so it's a walkable community, and so it's easy to get to really either location that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Heavy foot and biking traffic. So yeah, making sure that that we have enough maybe covered bike parking is really important here with the amount of bike traffic that there is too. And I know that there's been some concern about crossing Noose Boulevard, which is a little bit further down the street. So maybe looking at safe ways to ensure that people can cross Noose Boulevard or Broad Street. Yeah, so easier access potentially from the entire community. Something unique to the community, so something that's not offered elsewhere. That's a great way to bring people in and make sure that you're still providing programs that are offered. So we definitely would want to look at making sure we don't have duplication of programs unless they are needed to be duplicated, but great idea to kind of make this a special place. So yeah, slightly more visible location, a little bit closer to Broad Street. Meditation zones through virtual reality. Utilizing technology more. What we've heard from a lot of people is that this was a great space for different groups to network. So kind of potentially serve as a business hub for some of the maybe some small business owners who work out of their homes, an opportunity for them to come here to see other people in the community, and maybe providing some workspaces, some touchdown workspaces for that too. Bring some, one of the things that we like to do is providing as much multi-use flexible space as possible and being able to activate the space throughout the day from morning to afternoon to evening, because we have a lot of different groups who use the space consistently at different times. So making sure that that we have the spaces for the seniors for during the day when kids are at school, and then spaces for the kids in the later afternoons and evenings too. Reggie, any other questions or comments you want to add?
Not at this time, Rachel. I think, you know, if generally folks have other comments, they know where to find us.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, partnerships with other community organizations. We had our previous focus group talk to a couple of local nonprofits. And as I mentioned, wellness space was pretty popular. Maybe there's a partnership opportunity for that as well. Foster, any other questions or comments you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
All right. Well, I would like to thank you all for your participation here today. Again, if you have not filled out that survey, please do and add your comments to that. And then if anything else comes up, please shoot us an email. We look forward to hearing more from you about what your goals are and your vision for this project. Thank you.